Damn, son, where'd you find this?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 89 of the Sorta Interesting podcast, and welcome to our second week of Monster Month, where we are reviewing horror/monster movies all throughout the spooky season of October. I know what you're asking, everybody. Where's the first week of Monster Month? What happened to Constantine?
What happened to that?
That you were supposed to record, but ladies and gentlemen, we had some technical difficulties. Mics were not hot. My mic specifically was not hot, so we recorded a whole episode there, and it's just my mouth doing this, and you could hear Miles's audio perfectly fine. But yeah. But no worries, we'll save that. We'll save that for next year, or whenever we do some kind of Keanu Reeves series review. But I am your host. My name is Christian Patam. With me, as always, is a spooky, scary skeleton. He will send shivers down your spine. He will shock your soul and seal your doom tonight. Myles, darling. Myles F. Darling, and the F is for franchise. How you doing?
I got chills. They're multiplying.
Myles, I want to get right into it, by the way. I want to get right into a side podcast here with table topics. I like table topics a lot. The last one we recorded, unfortunately didn't air, but we went pretty deep. But I do like table topics. It gets the brain juices going. So I'm going to go.
I felt like I was sitting on that. I was laying on that.
I know, right?
That therapist.
But it's chair. Like we were both taking turns. You know? Like you got up and then I laid down and then
I grabbed the notebook.
And then sometimes we were both. I
was drawing dicks in it.
Sometimes we were both laying down together on that little couch, but let's get right into it. I want to get right into table topics.
Cozy twin.
It's a good little brain teaser. Get the juices flowing. Mm-hmm. Oh God! And you know what? This is actually a pretty good one. It's kind of the same thing as last time, but it's this question is: which of your personality traits would you like to change? Again, this is taking a look deep inside you right now. So
I've got one.
I have a lot. I have many that I would like to change. So this is a good one, actually.
I do too. Okay, so first one for me is my stubbornness. I am very stubborn when it comes to like just anything.
For example?
For example, when it comes to, I don't know, an argument. It's not so much that I'm like a do your own research kind of stubborn, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like change my ways, kind of like admit when I'm wrong, kind of stubborn.
It's difficult, yeah.
But it doesn't come to that. It comes to like when I'm talking about myself, you know. It's you know, for example, when I'm like being in a relationship, you got to know when to pick your battles, when to know when you're wrong.
Kenny Rogers, know when to fold them.
Know when to fold them. There you go. I
learn when to walk away.
Have been working on it, you know. My patience, it comes hand in hand with it, you know. Like I just really, I got to work on that.
And the best part about this personality stuff is you could change that. You know what I mean? It's tough, but it's stuff that you could change about yourself.
Not genes, so. Like you got small eyes. Well, I can't change that, okay, asshole.
I have normal sized penis. Nothing I can do about it.
I can't change that. That's genetics, bitch. I can lose some weight, but that's it.
Sometimes you can't though. Sometimes that's also genetics, where it's just too difficult. You know, it's obviously you could diet and exercise, but if it's not in your genetic code, then it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I just got a Tyson Fury body. It's fine.
Just like how I would love to be a professional athlete. Can't do it. There's just no way. I'm not built like that. But you know, and you know,
but more power to the people who do.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? But, you know, you got to find what works for you and what you can bring to the table in a sense, and what your strengths are, and you got to be okay with that. You got to be fine with that and accepting of that. And if you're not, then you got to find a way to be.
It is tough when you're trying to look at your own personality traits, and it's like, fuck, man, I got to look at the stuff that I don't like about myself.
Especially now. That's more prevalent now. In the day and age that we live in, because on social media you're comparing, in a sense, all the time yourself to whatever you're looking at.
Social media is so it's so toxic, man. I can't stand it, man.
Take a step back.
I usually try to take a long hiatus, but usually with this podcast, I kind of have to be on there, you know, to post stuff to stay relevant. But social media is the devil, because you know all you see all day is people posting the best parts of their lives and you know the happy days and stuff like that. So it makes you feel like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? How come I'm not living like they are? But You know, they're
I'm
human
living
dude.
La Vida
They
Loca.
got shit days like we do. They're just not posting it every day.
Yeah,
But
exactly. And you kind of model what you think about them based on what you just see from what they post or you don't see that there's people like us, we have flaws. We're just as vulnerable as they are.
at least we're fortunate where we're old enough to have grown up before all of that stuff. Like I didn't start getting into like Instagram and all that stuff till like the end of high school. So imagine if we had that middle school and beginning of high school, how just toxic personalities could have become with social media. You know what I mean? So that would have sucked. But
That's true.
I guess my personality traits. God, where do I start? How long is this podcast going on for? But
Oh boy. Pick one.
man, I guess introvertedness. I definitely need to change a lot of that. I've always been a homebody and like to stay home. Don't like to talk to a lot of people. But that's not the way to live. You know what I mean? Human beings are communal creatures. We need each other. We need friends. We need family. We need to interact with society. So as much as I'd like to just kind of be by myself all the time, it's not the healthiest thing to do mentally. You know what I mean? So definitely got to change that. Got to start exploring more. Go out,
Especially
make some
when you live
friends.
I mean, not knocking you or anything, but
Yeah.
living by yourself.
Oh yeah, it gets worse.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're 100 miles away, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not close to anybody that you grew up with. So it is a challenge. It would have been easier if I was still there. I know we would have
That's
gone
true.
out.
You
We
would
would have
probably
done,
force me to go out. Yeah.
yeah, we would have done things together.
Yeah.
No problem. I was looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't in the cards. COVID kind of screwed a lot of those plans up.
That's true. It didn't. COVID did not help any of that. If anything, it instigated even more
Yeah,
my
it kind of reinforced
introvertedness. Oh my
the
god,
introvertedness.
I
Yeah.
was loving it in the beginning of COVID. I was like,
Not just
yeah.
you, a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I was like, I get to just stay home all day. I don't have to go anywhere. And then
Yeah,
towards
I don't
like
feel guilty.
yeah, towards the end of it, like I guess not. We're not the end of it, but towards maybe the end of last year, I was like, fuck, man, like this is a lot. I'm living by myself. I need to go I gotta go out and make some fucking friends or go out or do something. So, but yeah, it's tough as an adult to make friends with other people. You know what I mean? Like if it's someone who's not a mutual friend, someone who's not in your inner circle that you meet through, other people. How do adults make friends nowadays? It's difficult.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I've come to this conclusion that you make acquaintances, because the friends that you make when you were younger are the people that have molded you.
Yeah,
that have
I
helped
like to keep it
you-
like this. You know what I mean? Tight
Yeah,
butthole.
tight butthole.
The tightest. Yeah.
Like that. You and I are very tight.
Yeah.
But,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but the people you meet are like this. They're acquaintances. They're people that you pass on, that you are not afraid of saying goodbye to, that you're not afraid to not see again, because they're not people you formed a bond with as deep as you have
We
with
haven't
the
been through
friends
the
that you
trenches
made.
together yet. Yeah.
Yeah. And I imagine it's tougher for people who've done a lot of transferring, done a lot of living from here and there, but they've also been molded by the people they've worked or lived with, so they are easier to be extroverts and make friends outside of that. We're just different. Like we've grown up in a tight knit kind of community where we're
Yeah,
our
I mean,
friends-
just for reference here, Myles and I and our group of friends, we've been friends for how long now? Over 10 years?
over 10 years.
Yeah,
Over
I
10
mean,
years,
yeah,
easily.
we kept our circle pretty tight, and it's
Like I said,
Yeah.
the people you meet now are just acquaintances. Maybe they'll become friends. You haven't known them that long. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't hang out with them after school like you did. You don't.
that's
walk
true.
with
You're
them.
not
You don't
around
talk.
people all day.
You're
Yeah.
not going to get hot fries in a fucking Arizona from the liquor store with
God.
them, or going to play Gears of War or Horde mode for
Getting
fucking
donuts
40
and
rounds.
we're not
Getting
eating
Godfather pizzas from Avenue
We're not
3
eating
together.
all you can eat pasta from Avenue 3. Jesus.
Oh my god!
Watching
see?
Ace Ventura in the corner.
Exactly. You're not going to do that with people that you meet now, because you're an adult. You're mature. You have different responsibilities, right?
Yeah, I mean, on that topic of trying to make friends, I mean, I've gone online and there is like a there's like a website where there's like social meetups and stuff, and I was like, maybe one day that would be cool to do, like meet like other people like me, like other nerds and stuff who like movies and games
Similar
and stuff
interests.
like that. And yeah, play some board games.
And that's
or
where
something.
it starts, right?
Yeah,
Similar interests.
and I think they have like meetups at like comic shops and stuff. I'd be like, that would be dope, man. Just kind of just like hang out with just people who have the same interests as you, and it just flows naturally. You don't have to force anything when it's like that. So. I mean, other traits, I don't know what other traits I have. I guess I could just be more, I don't know, outgoing. I don't really know what other traits I have.
I wish I didn't have such an addictive personality. I wish I could just move on from
me
things.
too. I have a major addictive personality. Yeah. You and I have our bouts with food here and there. When we get together, it's, especially in somewhere like Las Vegas, it's like, whew, good thing we don't live there.
Go back to just try and I'll look things up and I'll just, it's bad because it's also good.
Yeah.
But the bad is you want it then and there. You want to be able to just have access to it all the time. You will move mountains to get that. But at the same time, you know what you like, right?
Yeah, addiction's it's a cruel mistress because it's most of the time it's genetic, right? So I do have family members with addiction issues, so I'm like, I probably have it too. So, which I definitely do because I have to stop myself from doing a lot of things, but
Me too.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough being an adult trying to make friends in a new city. And I mean, how do people like just pick up and move to across the country? Not even close to. At least I'm close enough to where I could drive to you. You could drive to me. We could still hang out. So that's why I'm like, man, I kind of want to move to another city, state if I could buy a house or something. But that just doesn't seem like it'll be rainbows and roses once I get there. It's
don't try to move to Washington. You won't be able to afford shit.
No, yeah,
close to Seattle,
somewhere
where the work
affordable.
is.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I've tried that, and that did not work out well at all.
Yeah. So what did you do over there? I mean, did you make any friends out there? How did you cope with being alone?
I mean, there? I did. I had
you did have a girlfriend out there.
I did have a girlfriend out there, and I will say that in this day and age, the girlfriend that I have now and the girlfriend that I had then, I found both online.
That's right. Yeah, you did.
On Tinder and on Hinge, respectfully. And or Bumble. Sorry. And it has made it easier being part. I want to say I'm like borderline introvert, extrovert.
Yeah.
I like to keep to myself, but I also want to force myself to go out there and kind of like do certain things. So
that's what I'm trying to do, man. Yeah.
And I think online dating has kind of helped bridge that gap, and it did for me. I got to meet her friends when I was living out there. They're cool people. I got to go out and just kind of go to a concert and meet some cool people. I don't keep up with them at all. I don't know. I don't keep up with the people that I met in Washington.
Yeah, you weren't out there that long, so yeah,
I wasn't.
Not long enough to establish some kind of like.
Yeah, the longest I was out there at a time was maybe like 6 to 8 months, and then I would come back here for like a couple weeks because I would always take my vacations and come back here for an extended period of time. Because this is where my friends were.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's a question for an extrovert. I think we're both, you more so than me, but me, I'm also, I would consider myself more introvert than extrovert.
Yeah, I'm definitely super introvert.
That's a tough question to ask us. We need maybe someone like Sam.
Sam is definitely that kind of guy to go out there and chat it up with any random people, and I respect that, man. I can't do that. Like, I have a lot of things to talk about, but I just don't have the energy. It drains my battery talking to strangers, like real quick. If I'm around strangers all day and too many people and I'm talking to too many people all day, I need to take a break, like at least a whole day to kind of recharge my batteries, because it's too much after a party or something. Even like after something like with family, like Thanksgiving and stuff, where I have to like kind of like, just be around a lot of people. It's like, fuck, this is a lot of energy out of me and just not used to it. So, but I'm trying to change that. Trying to go out more and
Yeah,
explore
I mean,
some more.
and obviously it's easier with the friends that you like. If you were living here,
Yeah.
it would be no problem. You'd be going out with us.
Yeah.
You'd be hanging out here at our place all the time. I
Yeah,
know that.
that's why I
for
try to
sure.
come back as much as I can, just so I could, so I could go out,
Mhm.
have some kind of social life. Because
And I want to go
yeah.
out there as much
Yeah,
as I can now
definitely,
too.
yeah.
It's just like it's that connection that you make, and it's like, all right, we're together. Now we can tackle this thing head on. We can go out there and we
Yeah.
can do this shit together.
I mean, thank God for technology, though. You know what I mean? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, that has made it so much
we have
easier.
we have been using like this party system since Matt was in the Marines and stuff, and we were
Mhm.
playing Xbox together, and and you were also in Seattle. We were also playing Xbox. Yeah, we were all in different places playing Xbox and
Fucking
stuff together.
microwaves
So,
and shit, dude. God damn it.
so
dude.
yeah, thank God for technology. We can still keep up together, but
But is
man.
that it for your personality? Like, what?
My God, yeah.
What would you like to like? Okay. Let me ask you just
Yeah.
quick before we get off this topic. Something about your personality, so we can go back to the other. We can go to the other side of
Mm-hmm.
this. What part of your personality do you like the most that you wish you had? You not no. What part of your personality do you like the most?
Ooh,
What
God.
part? I'll tell you what I like the most about you.
Okay. Go
It's
ahead.
your fuck. I mean, it's why we're friends.
Yeah.
Why we're best friends.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's your sense of humor. It's the
I do take pride in that. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Yes.
the sense of humor and the things that you take pride in.
Yeah.
Like are things that I take pride in as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
it helps bring a common ground. That's why we're friends.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
know?
Definitely. Yeah. I appreciate
That's
that.
why we're Dominic Toretto's family, bro.
Family. I'll give you one since you gave me one. I do like. I love your loyalty as a friend. You've always been my best friend since fucking high school. So I've always
Yeah, dude,
I've always turned to
we
you
met-
for any little thing that I have, and you're always willing to ride or die for me, like whatever I want to do. So even this podcast right here, I just came up to you. I was like, one day I was like, hey, I got an idea for the podcast. You're like,
And-
let's do it, like right away. No,
Yeah.
no questions asked. You're just like, let's do it. And I was like, all right, ride or die right here. This is all I need. So
Yeah, I mean, and
yeah.
now like it's time. Like I'm, even when I didn't have the time to do this, like I really wanted to do it.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
There
I
was,
knew that,
There was
yeah.
times where we took hiatuses,
Yeah.
and like I wish you've done so much for this podcast that I am grateful for that. That's part of like you find something that you're invested in, and you.
that's because I
take
love to do
charge
it
of
though. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just stuff I love to do. So I would be doing it regardless. So that's just like sides. That's just like the passionate part, the creative side that I need to let out, because all my other parts of my life are just technical, right? My job is just all straightforward technical shit. So I need a creative outlet to
That's true.
to kind
That's
of
true. That's
blow the steam off a little bit. But man, I feel like we went deeper on this one than than the last one we did with the other podcast we didn't do. But
we had to make up for it.
I do have a trailer that I want to move on to. This new trailer is for a new live-action Resident Evil movie. If you're not familiar with the Resident Evil movies, they do not have a great track record. So
Never been.
I don't have many hopes for this one, but I'm interested to see, because especially with the new Resident Evil game coming out, I'm kind of interested to dive back into that universe. So let's go ahead and watch this. Let me change the window. It's called Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. And this is coming out to movie theaters November 24th. And I thought it was coming out on Netflix as well, but
Is that
guess I'm
Effie?
wrong.
Effie from Have you ever seen Skins, the UK version?
I have not. No, I've never watched Skins.
Oh
ever.
man, you should watch Skins, the UK. I think it's like every 2 seasons. Ooh, zombies, huh? Every 2 seasons, it kind of changes, and it's wild, bro. It's wild.
Yeah, all these
There's
actors.
drama.
I think all these actors might be European.
Kaya,
actors,
yeah,
so,
Kaya
is that her? Okay.
Scodelario. That she's from Skins. Yeah,
Never
she
heard
was-
of any of these actors. So let's see here. So Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Not raccoons.
Trying to get into school again.
Okay. Yeah, she's British as fuck, by the way. So this is a fake accent, but it's good.
The origin of evil.
I guess.
Why are you back here, Claire? Your conspiracies
Ooh,
weren't
Claire,
true when we were
okay.
kids. They're not true now.
First of all, are you familiar with the characters from
I no,
From Resident
no,
Evil?
I'm
Okay.
not. I
Okay.
never really followed along with the movies. I never followed along with the games. Too
was-
scared of the games. The movies, too
I
shit,
am
so.
terrified of the games. Resident
Yeah.
Evil 7, I played maybe 5 minutes. I was like, nah, I'm good.
I played the
I'm
demo
good.
of Resident Evil 5, and
So
I
fucking
was scared
scary.
shit
Yeah,
this
no
game.
way. I can't do it. Too stressful.
Just in an arcade setting, because I know I got people behind me.
Oh yeah, and
I got shooters
especially-
behind me.
Especially those
Time
those-
Crisis.
Oh, I
got
love Time
shooters.
Crisis. That's easy because you're shooting just people when
Yeah,
it comes to
you just
zombies
do
and
that.
stuff. And especially those early Resident Evil games where I hate this fucking mechanic where you can't move while you're shooting. So it's just you have to stand still and
my
strafe
God.
around and shoot and then undo your gun and then go walk. So that
Mm-hmm.
has always been terrifying to me.
That was the most linear it could be. You know, like you're stuck there.
I hated that, but they changed it around now. But it's still very scary.
To expose Umbrella.
She's rocking a Claire jacket. I like it.
Afraid, Claire. I'm afraid of what they're gonna do to this town. You see, Umbrella.
That guy's from a show on Amazon.
Chernobyl, if you know
Oh,
what I
okay.
mean. People are getting sick.
Is that Carlos?
You gotta help us, Claire. Let the world know what's really going on.
This looks like a straight up recreation of Resident Evil 2. I'm kind of into it.
We have to contain this.
This is just song right here. You gotta sing it in German though.
That is my dream song to do in karaoke, by the way. Imagine trying to do that fucking
Hey,
song.
that's Raiden, huh?
Oh, that's yeah, what's his
Graham, right?
What were Umbrella doing here?
This is where they're experimenting on him.
We should split up.
This looks just like the game, and I'm kind of interested right now. What a music choice, though. Oh, that house is pretty accurate. That's dope. What the? Jesus, these are fast zombies.
We're gonna take Umbrella down.
That guy has beautiful hair.
Damn.
Welcome to Raccoon City, November 24th, 2 days before my birthday. Oh Jesus. Well, you know what? I'm interested. I'm keeping my my expectations at bay because I think I've seen the first Resident Evil movie with Mila Jovovich, and they're all terrible. They're all so shit. But
I think okay. Here's my take on
Yeah.
on like nobody asked for it, but here's my take on this.
I'm asking for it.
So like on origin stories, after like there's been so many different like 1, 2, 3, 4 whatever sequels there's been with the prequel, you get creative. You could kind of like dictate, all right, we can make this story better, we can draw an audience, but at the same time we can't really go further with that because it's leading into whatever was made before. But we can be creative with like who we bring in. We could be good with like the CGI, this like the animatronics, everything
Right.
that like goes with a movie like this. I think this movie could be.
I mean, it looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
look terrible. Like, my main thing is take your time with it. We've had so many Resident Evils. You don't have to rush it. Nobody's asking for another Resident Evil.
Exactly,
so
right? You're
just take your
expecting
time.
an origin
Yeah.
story to be slower in
Yeah.
a sense.
Yeah. We don't need
So
to rush through this. So I'm hoping for the best. I'm probably going to watch it. I hope. I thought something on Netflix was coming out. I think there's a different thing because I think the Netflix one is
What was that Umbrella Academy? What was that? Was that anything to do with this? From Netflix?
Umbrella Academy is a comic book. This is Umbrella Corporation. It's two different
Oh.
things. Yeah, but that one of the main guys is in Umbrella Academy, which makes it even more. By the way, Umbrella Academy. Do you know who that is written by? Written by
Alan Moore.
Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance.
What?
Yes, created by Gerard Way, which is insane to think about. Which is awesome. I kind of want to. I want to read that series now just because of that.
Okay,
but,
interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah,
real quick.
Yeah,
That
go
guy.
ahead.
So I was saying that guy. There's a show I want to plug from fucking Amazon. why can't I remember the name of that show? It's got the main guy that's opposite of Sky or Kaya Goldilira, or who's the main chick? Clara?
Claire's her character name, yeah.
Claire's her character name.
Name is Kaya, yeah. Kaya Scodelario. I don't know.
What was the name of that movie? So I can look it up.
Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Welcome to Raccoon City. Let me pull up this guy's name. Hold on. Robbie Amell. And he was in a show.
Okay.
He was in a show. Fuck, it's not even in his like known for. This is bad. Oh no, it is. Upload on Amazon Prime.
This dude's a smoke show. Jesus Christ.
He is. He really is.
God,
and in that show, Upload,
man.
he is a smoke show as well. That show on Amazon Prime it's
okay.
good. It's kind of, it's about like if you die, it's in the future. You die and you're rich enough to be uploaded into the heaven server.
Whoa, that's Black Mirror, bro. That's
right?
That's that San Junipero, yeah.
But this is like expanded on that.
Oh, okay.
And there's like in-app purchases and shit. You know, it's a funnier take. Obviously, Black Mirror is more like
it's a comedy kind of thing.
Yeah, it's more comedy than anything.
Yeah, that Black Mirror episode is probably one of the greatest TV episodes I've ever seen in my life. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's. I think you should watch Upload. I don't know if it's even been greenlit for a second season. It was good though.
It's so tough nowadays to keep up with TV shows, man. There's stuff coming out every goddamn week. It's like I need to catch up on this thing and that thing, and Squid Game, still gotta catch up on that. I've been doing stuff all day, didn't get to watch that. So okay, Upload. I'll watch that. That's for sure.
I watch it.
But ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to hear more content like what you just heard, you can donate to our Patreon at patreon.com/sortainteresting, where you could donate at the $1 level. I could go on for probably an hour and a half about all that stuff we were just talking about. So, but Myles, if the beautiful people would like to hear the back catalog of our podcast, where can they find us?
Back catalog, podcast from the past.
Stroked out there.
I know I
getting choked up about it.
Shout out our stroke victims. Sortainteresting.com. That's where you can find this podcast, our catalog, podcast from the past. That's my favorite saying of all time. You can go there. You can check out our Patreon link, or you can go to patreon.com/sortainteresting, and you can help us out. You can just donate. You can get some extra content. Once we get more traction, obviously we'll put out more content like we have been in the beginning. We've been getting more in depth with them. We've been getting more serious with them.
Get better and better. That's what it counts. Just the reps. Dude, they got Gladiator on Netflix. I'm just looking at this right now. This is insane. Oh my god,
it's insane. I can't believe you're on Netflix. I'm about to cancel my Netflix subscription, dude.
Yeah,
it's almost it's at that point where HBO Max is taking over. Disney Plus package is taking over. It's kind of just Netflix is phased out, in my opinion. Hulu next day,
and then they come out with something like Squid Game and they bring you back in. You know what I mean?
They do. They reel you back in.
That's how they get you.
And that's not on Plex. I'll tell you that.
No, that's not. No,
that's not.
Got everything else.
You go to Google. Honestly, you just go to Google, type in Sorta Interesting. You'll find our YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Sorta Interesting. We're getting there. We need 1,000 subscribers. Help us out. We're at 200 plus. All you gotta do is subscribe. You don't have to turn on notifications, but you should.
Please.
But if you want to, go ahead. You know when these videos come out, we'll gain more traction. We'll have our own URL. We'll get to put that up there.
Go check out our last year's Monster Month with the Mummy Returns podcast, our most highest watched podcast, highest viewed podcast, with over 40,000 views, Myles. So that still blows my mind. I don't know how out of everything that one gained traction, but The Mummy Returns, everybody loves that movie. Myles, let's get into some production details for The League.
Everybody does love that movie.
Of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Release date, July 11th, 2003. Director Stephen Norrington, known for just one other movie, the Blade movie, which I cannot wait till that movie, the new Blade, comes out so we could review all the Blade movies.
Mahershala.
And then writer James Robinson, mostly just a one-hit wonder. with this movie, and that is a stretch calling this a hit. I'm just gonna say one movie wonder instead. But a budget of $78 million, which really shocked me. With all the goddamn CGI in this movie, just $78 million to make. And then a box office gross of $179 million, not even close to the top movies of that year. Top movies were Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. That I think that might, honestly, as much as I love it, might be my least favorite of the trilogy. Return of the King. Return of the King. Return. I just sing that song every time it comes up. Also, Finding Nemo and The Matrix.
Return of the Mac.
Return of the King. Finding Nemo and The Matrix Reloaded. Also, the highest grossing movies of that year. A runtime of 1 hour and 50
P. Sherman, 42,
minutes.
Wallaby Way, Sydney. Okay.
Still, never forget that. I will never forget that for the rest of my life. Matrix Reloaded, honestly, maybe my favorite of the Matrix, but we'll have to find out in December when we review those movies. So that's just a little preview of what we're going to see in December. That's a hot take, isn't it?
That's a very hot take. Okay. We'll get to that.
A runtime of 1 hour 50 minutes. A little long at the end, but honestly, the movie flew by. I watched it again today to do this rundown, and it wasn't as painful as it was watching past movies where I have to watch it again to do the rundown. So it's not.
I think I've seen this movie more than you've seen it.
I think that's true. Yeah, because you were telling me about it. I haven't seen it in a while, so it's been a while. But yeah, Miles, what were your initial thoughts of The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Just what a title, by the way. What a title.
Yeah. This movie came out in what, 03?
2003.
Right? Yeah, 03. And I did not see this in theaters. I really remember seeing it for the first time with Nick, guy I've known for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And so I would watch it at his house. I don't remember how. I know he did have it.
It was always it's one of those movies that was always on like FX. It was always on. He had it on DVD. Wow.
He had it on DVD.
True fan.
Bro.
He's a true fan. Yeah.
Yeah. Him and his family, they love those DVDs and those Blu-rays. Oh boy, I tell you.
I respect that.
Yeah,
if I had the room to do it, I would probably collect stuff. But that's the whole.
They turned me on to Fight Club. That family turned me on to Fight Club.
Okay.
Dude. One of my favorite movies of all time. I will tell you that right now.
Okay.
And I will say that I grew up with. I'm kind of like biased on this movie. I like this movie. I watched this movie growing up, and this was my kind of like first take on like not as in a sense like superhero kind of like deal, but like supernatural, like supernatural abilities, characters. The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I just like. Dude. Was in there. I was like,
what a concept, dude.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
of course. This was Hulk before Hulk.
Yes, I wrote that several times in this review.
Yes. See, thank you. Like I'm seeing this, like, and I'm realizing this as I get older. That's the awesome thing about like seeing a movie. Like you think, wow, this movie isn't gonna hold up. In my opinion, it does. But that again, I'm biased because I used to watch this when I was younger. So I like this movie. I really like this movie.
Yeah.
Even with the shitty things that it does, I still have a soft spot for this movie. And we'll get into the shitty things.
No, you and I are on the exact same page here, Miles, because I'm coming out the gate with a red hot take. Okay, Miles. On paper, in theory, the idea of this movie should be as popular, if not more popular, than like the first Avengers movie. Like if this came out later in probably around that same time, like later in the 2000s, the aughts as they call it, the 2010 era, this movie would have fucking killed it in the movie theaters. But if you think about this, the concept of this movie,
have origin stories for each one. That's the thing too. Right?
That's because that's in in the books written in fucking the 1800s. So if you think about the concept of this movie, it is the Avengers in a world before comic books, which is fucking crazy to think about. It is the ultimate team up of the earliest science fiction characters in literary history. Characters that have been written about for literally over 100 years at this point, since the 1800s. And I just want to take a moment to list these characters out in their importance in literary history. We got Alan Quartermaine, which a character I never heard of before this movie, but apparently a character introduced in 1885 from the novel King Solomon's Mines. And there's nothing really too special about him. I think he's more of a character being famous in English literature and just an all-around badass kind of guy. And then Mina Harker.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah, sharpshooter as fuck, dude. One of the coolest like traits ever, though. Being a sharpshooter.
yeah.
I mean, if you
on.
can nail being a sharpshooter, that's all you need on your team, right?
And at the time too, like when it was like written, like
Yeah.
his character, obviously sharpshoot, like that was
Unheard of.
the best you could do at that time.
With
Like,
no scopes.
yeah, come on, dude. Like when guns were like a thing of
Yeah.
the future, the way of the future,
Way
right?
of the future. Yeah.
The way of the future.
Then this next character of Mina Harker from Bram Stoker's Dracula, written in 1897, who gets turned into a vampire by Dracula. Such a cool idea there too. The Invisible Man, written by H.G. Wells in 1897. Of course, a very well-known story that's been done so many times. Now I didn't even realize. I didn't realize how many goddamn times this Invisible Man story has been done. And shout out to Kevin Bacon in
yep.
Hollow Man, which I didn't even realize. Totally forgot. Yeah, that is part of that same character.
I looked that up too.
Yeah.
As part of this, and I was like, yeah, that's.
Except
Yep,
Kevin
that was
Bacon
part of the trivia,
was
actually.
a fucking asshole. God,
He
he's
was.
such a
He
dick
was
in that movie.
He was such a
And then, Dr. Jekyll Mr. Hyde, a character created in 1886. Essentially, you said it, the original Incredible Hulk, something I didn't even realize till literally months ago. Like this, I found out this year. I was like, oh my God. That's the fucking Incredible Hulk. I didn't even fucking realize it. He was a superhero before superheroes were even invented.
I think I brought this up to Nick like last year. I
It's
was
insane,
like, dude, this
right?
is Hulk before it was Hulk.
How creative were people back then? I mean, that's the only thing you had in the 1800s. You just had this. You had your brain. You didn't have any TV. You didn't have any fucking internet. Just your own brain. Imagine coming up with an idea
original.
like that. Yeah. An idea like that. It's insane. And then Captain Nemo, probably the most famous science fiction character in the history of literature, created by Jules Verne in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. What a great title for a book, by the way. And then, I talked about this concept a lot during our unaired Constantine podcast. It's this concept of taking, pieces of history, these literary classics that historians and intellects and teachers have been reading and teaching about for over 100 years at this point, and twisting them and modernizing them and teaming them up together as a superhero team to fucking fight evil. I mean, it's real world evil in this movie too. It's not like some crazy James Bond supervillain. It's like Germans and shit. And it's just probably one of the most genius and creative concepts I've ever come across in my life here.
Yep.
And yeah, I do remember watching this for the first time, probably on like FX or something on TV, and I was just amazed, man. I didn't know a majority of the characters. I probably only knew like the Invisible Man and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but that was enough for me to kind of connect the dots to see what they were doing there. With I realized that they were both like classic characters from books, and the thought of them teaming up together like an Avengers team or a Justice League just blew me away as a kid. And honestly, it probably molded a lot of my passions growing up. I was like, people could be this creative and team like characters together that, and just twist them around. I was like, this is something I want to get into. I like this a lot.
This is what Universal had envisioned.
Yeah, that's, oh my God. Imagine if they did this current day. I'm telling you, Myles, if they did this current day. Yeah, no. And unfortunately, I do think this movie was just too ahead of its time. And I'd say
It really was.
I'd say 80 to 85% of the movie was poorly executed just because of the CGI just wasn't there. But I could see what they were trying to do, and I appreciate the movie for that. And I like the movie regardless. Like you said, it's one of my favorites because of that. And even though the poor CGI is the majority of this movie, making it hard to watch in some scenes, there are still so many let's fucking go moments, LFG moments, as I say, that will always bring me back to this movie, and it makes this a classic for movie nerds like you and I, where it's just like, I gotta keep coming back. I gotta get that drug in me. I need that superhero drug in me. But Myles, let's get into a rundown. This movie, not very long, so I made this rundown kind of short here. But this movie opens up with some text that says, the year is 1899. The great nations of Europe share an uneasy peace. For hundreds of years, wars have been fought with the same weapons, single-shot rifles, cavalry, and horse-drawn cannons. But this old century is soon to end. for a new age dawns, and it says ... which I really liked. They cut to the streets of London where we see what appears to be an earthquake, but it turns out it's just a big ass tank using new technology that these British blokes have never seen before. And God, those British police officer uniforms, I don't understand why they need like a little cape, by the way, when they have like a little cape flapping around. No guns, just a little baton. We see
I'll whip the fuck out of you, boy.
we see the tank break into the Bank of England, where they break open a safe, and we see our main antagonist, whom we will meet later in this movie, but he steals what appears to be some blueprints for a city. Then we cut to Berlin in 1899. We see the antagonist's face for the first time, and he's rocking like a dope ass like Phantom of the Opera inspired mask, but it's all chromed out. And it looks
No Time to Die.
dude, it looks sick as fuck. He's taking a bunch of German scientists to work for him. We see a bunch of newspaper articles alluding to the start of a world war. And then now we cut to Kenya in 1899, and we see a proper British man in a nice suit enter a bar and ask for a man named Quartermaine. And the barkeep points to the group of white men in the back there. The British man approaches the old, plump white man and introduces himself as a representative of Her Majesty's British government, which his accent is so nice, by the way. Her Majesty's British government.
Proper.
And he tells the man the Empire needs you. And just then another man sitting nearby turns around and says, "But the question is, do I need the Empire?" Do I need the Empire? Then we are introduced. We are introduced to the real Alan Quartermaine, played by Sean Connery. Unfortunately, his last feature-length movie that he will ever do in his career, which is
sad.
It's a bummer.
Also,
yeah.
I'm glad that we got him in this movie, but I'm sad that
he was
got
perfect
him in
for this
movie.
role, dude. You didn't think so? I thought he was great.
I thought, okay, handing off the baton, I get the kind of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Handing off the baton, I get that part much, but he was a little old for this. I think it could have been a little younger, more spry, more movement, more just everything.
Yeah, I read part of the comic book, kind of leading up to this, and he is like an older guy though in the comic book. He's also an older guy, and he's actually way more.
Well, that's where I did not.
It's
so
actually
that's my disconnect.
way more
So there we
dark
go.
too in the comic book. He has like a severe drug problem in the comic book from all the PTSD.
I would have loved to see
all
that.
the PTSD and stuff that he's gone through from all the wars he's fought. So he's like a severe like opium
I would have
problem.
loved to see that belt
Yeah.
around the arm right there, dude.
And he's a badass though. He doesn't rock like that hair that he has in this. He just has like a buzz cut. He kind of looks like the general from Avatar, that big like jacked ass general in Avatar. He kind of looks like that in the comic books. Yeah, imagine getting that guy as Quartermaine.
Looking like Batista.
Yeah, imagine getting that guy,
the
the Avatar guy, as Quartermaine.
Batista was the guy with the third eye right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And Avatar. Never mind. Keep
Batista
going.
was
Sorry.
in Avatar.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Last Airbender. Sorry. Oh,
And then what does he say?
gosh.
Sean Connery. Unfortunately, the last movie he ever did. Your best. Losers whine about their best. Then the British gentleman named Sanderson tells Quartermaine the Empire needs him to lead a group of unique men like himself to combat this threat. And then Sanderson says they are on the brink of world war, but Quartermaine is perfectly happy in Africa and has no interest in fighting for England after losing friends. And I like this quote. He says, like, I lost a lot of friends, white and black. And I was like, there you go, Quartermaine. Way in the 1800s, like still being inclusive there. I like that. Then we
no
see
Asians, though.
no Asians allowed in Africa.
No Asians.
We see a group of men in trench coats enter the bar, approach the fake Quartermaine, and execute him right on the spot. Fucking shoot him right in the chest, which was crazy. Then Quartermaine leaps up immediately, opens fire with a pistol, but they are wearing some armor plates. And then the men whip out some new age automatic rifles. Automatic rifles? Who uses automatic? Then we see a lot of hand-to-hand combat here from Quartermaine, and honestly, the choreography in this is really good. Like they did a good job of making Sean Connery look like a badass, because he was at least maybe 70 when he was doing this, maybe 60s, and they did enough of like cuts and stuff to make it look like it was actually Sean Connery doing a lot of these stunts. And then one of the men starts to run away, so Quartermaine turns to the bar and says, "Bruce, Matilda, and then Bruce tosses him a big ass fucking rifle that is like the size of his whole body, and we see the barman toss Quartermaine a long ass rifle, and the Quartermaine starts to aim down the sights. Then the what's his name, the British guy's like, he's way too far, you can't shoot him over there, and then Quartermaine whips out his glasses. He aims down his sights and fucking nails him from way over there. Bro. So fucking cool.
Nails him from behind.
There's nothing cooler than someone who's a sharpshooter. Like, that's your specialty as a sharpshooter. That's fucking awesome. And then, Quartermaine starts to, they run down this guy, and then they see that he takes a little cyanide pill in his mouth and kills himself. And then Sanderson looks at Quartermaine and says, "You may not have any love for the Empire, but I know you love Africa." And he says that a war in Europe will surely spread to all of its colonies. And as he's finishing that sentence, we see the bar where they were just in explode, killing everyone inside. And Quartermaine says, "I'm in," which, I mean, this opening right here, fucking so good right here.
Good, yeah, man. It's
good.
Got
man.
right to it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. A lot of action right from the get-go. Then we see Quartermaine arrive to a rainy London where he meets with a man simply named M, played by Richard Roxburgh, featured in our last year's Monster Month where he played Dracula in Van Helsing. So go and check that out on our YouTube channel. Then M tells Quartermaine that he is delighted to welcome him as the newest recruit for this League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And just then we see an Indian man walk in, and we are introduced to another member of the League. I almost said Justice League of the League. Captain Nemo, my favorite character in this whole movie. I love Captain Nemo.
Ready?
Yeah. What happened?
Nasiruddin Shah.
I honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen him in any other movie, but I love him in this movie.
He's old as fuck.
His outfit is so fucking dope, dude. It's like kind of futuristic looking. He's wearing like this blue, almost traditional kind of Indian military outfit, but it's modernized with like a bunch of silver accents on it. And of course, Nemo being a pirate, he has a dope ass sword. And then Quartermaine and Nemo know each other, but they're not too fond of each other. And then M tells Quartermaine of our antagonist, whom he calls the Phantom. Another great name. This movie's full of great names. And his plan to attack a conference of world leaders in Venice, Italy. Then we hear a voice in the room that we cannot see, and we are introduced to another member, the Invisible Man, Rodney Skinner, who stole the formula from the original scientist, and we see him put on the white paint on his face, which is a cool way for us to for the audience to see him, even though the rest of the movie, it looks kind of weird when he's like all white, where it's like
it's got like it's like he's doing paper mache, you know.
It looks weird when it's all of it. They should have like included some kind of CGI in there to make it a little see-through, because it looks like literally it's just a dude wearing white paint on his face. And then the doors open up, and we are introduced to Mina Harker, who just introduces herself as a scientist. And M tells them there are still 2 more members to recruit. So the League walks outside, and we see Nemo's vehicle. And Myles, it is one of the coolest car designs in the history of film. I still have never seen anything like this in my life. This super long, like white car with like the silver trim on the outside. And it has
the closest I've seen is thinking of back to like Captain America with the Hydra.
Yes, it is like that. It is kind of like that. Yeah,
it's not even it that doesn't do it justice, because this thing is long. This thing's like a V fucking like 30. There's 15 cylinders on each side, and it's just
so long. And then the cab is like, you can fit like 2 people in there, but somehow the whole team gets in there. It has like those 4 wheels, in the back, and then the 2 in the back, or the 4 wheels in the front, and then 2 in the back, which is such a creative design. I love it so much. And as we see the car drive off, and we see a mysterious man spying on them, and he gives follow there. Then now at the East London docks, the League arrives to a mysterious house, and we are introduced to our next member, Dorian Gray. And as they walk up the staircase, Quartermaine, they walk up the staircase, and then Quartermaine comments about a picture missing on the wall, and of course alluding to the story of the picture of Dorian Gray. It's maybe it was a little too on the nose to point it out. Maybe if they could have just like held a shot like on the empty space as they were walking up, that would have been a little cooler. But then Quartermaine tells the League that
Straight to the point.
Yeah, straight to the point there. And then Quartermaine tells the League that he and Gray have met each other before a long time ago in school when Quartermaine was just a kid, referring to Dorian Gray's immortality, which is a very cool and like subtle way to tell the audience about his powers. Like I think what's her name, Mina, was like, "Oh, it was Dorian, you were just a child when you guys met, huh?" And then I like Quartermaine. He's like, "No, I was the child and he was the teacher." I was like, "Oh fuck, that's fucking dope." And then the League meets in the library, but the party is crashed by the Phantom and his soldiers. We see the mysterious man who followed them there disguised as one of the Phantom soldiers. Then he opens fire, and an all-out fight breaks out here. And I love this scene as a kid. We see every member of the League showing off their special abilities. We see Skinner running away, and he fucking splashes the scotch on his face, which is really cool. I always love that scene. He's running away, taking off the jacket, taking off the paint from his face. And then Quartermaine, using his amazing shooting abilities and his hand-to-hand combat here. And then Dorian Gray using that dope ass like hidden blade in his cane, just doing work on these fuckers. He looks like he reminds me of like an OP like video game character. The way he's just like slicing people like with no defense. He's just like going around just. I like the way he just like, I don't know, like his fighting style too. It looks like it looks like a total like video game character. Then we see this mysterious character whom we haven't met yet. We haven't been introduced yet. Also doing work with his like dope ass rifle that has amazing sound design. And then finally we see Captain Nemo whip out his sword and destroy these dudes with like his crazy choreography with crazy spinning kicks and all these like crazy martial arts that he does. And that's why he's my favorite character in this. He's so unassuming when you first see him. He's like, he's just the old Indian dude.
The little Indian guy.
And he's fucking just kicking ass with like hand-to-hand combat. And then, we see Dorian Gray getting shot up by that dude with the machine gun. That lady, what's her name, Mina, she was like, "Dorian!" And he's just getting fucking blasted. The guy takes off his shirt. We could see all the bullet holes turn into ash, which is really cool. And then Quartermaine gives chase to the Phantom, but he eventually escapes. And then we see Mina finally reveal her abilities, and the League finds out she is a vampire, and she straight sucks the soul out of this dude here. And then the League finally meets this mysterious man who helped them out, and he is Special Agent Tom Sawyer. And I don't know, man. This it's a stretch to include this character in this League, because all I know of Tom Sawyer is he's just a shitty little kid from that Huckleberry Finn book, right? I think that's him, but I could be wrong. But
he is played by Shane West.
Oh, Walk to Remember. Yeah, Shane West,
Walk
right?
to Remember,
yeah.
And opposite Maggie Q and Nikita.
Oh, he's in Nikita. Interesting. Never seen that show. I gotta watch that show. And then, Sawyer shows his gun to Quartermaine. And of course, this gun is a classic American gun, which I really appreciate how they did their homework here. The Henry Winchester rifle, aka the gun that won the West. Rifle featured in basically every single Western movie ever made. So it's like, again, the little attention to detail here. Sawyer being
lever action.
Yeah, I love that gun, dude. It looks awesome. Sawyer being the character to represent America, so of course he has to use the most famous weapon in American history, which is really cool. Then the League sets off to Paris to recruit their last member. Then Mina gives us a little of her backstory. Her and her husband used to work with a scientist named Van Helsing, and she was turned into a vampire by Dracula. Again, all just all very cool stuff using classic literature as a plot device here. Then Nemo says their transportation has arrived, and we are introduced to the Nautilus, which I love the way he says it. Probably the most famous fictional vessel in literary history, featured in Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And the design of the ship, dude, it's so fucking cool. It's massive. It's all like silver with cool like trim around it. And I like how it could be submerged as a submarine and sail above the water is awesome too. And then Nemo calls this ship the Sword of the Ocean, which is such a dope ass line. Then Quartermaine and Sawyer arrive in Paris, where they are chasing a creature that looks like he's Donkey Kong running in a tuxedo. We are introduced to Mr. Hyde, and then Quartermaine nets Hyde up in his chains. And he's chained up in the Nautilus, and then Quartermaine confronts Hyde and tells him you've done terrible things in England. But Her Majesty's...
By the way, we've seen him before in our Van Helsing podcast.
That's true. Yeah, another Dr. Jekyll. Yeah, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. Sorry. But Her Majesty's government is offering amnesty in return for your services. Then Hyde agrees, and we see him transform back into a man, which is in a very gruesome scene here.
Yeah,
And a very creative and unique scene, honestly. We always see characters like Bruce Banner, right, always turning into the Hulk, but we never see them transform back into the Man, which I am very interested when I saw that. So, and it's one of the reasons why I love this scene so much. It's so it's unique. We never see anything like this, and it looks brutal too. All the cuts that they have of him, turning back, where he's like half monster, and then his face is like turning back,
yelling.
Yeah,
it looks like it hurt.
He's in so much pain, and then you can see everyone's reaction to it. They're like, what the fuck is going on here? And then we see the Man is finally back to normal now, and we are introduced to Dr. Jekyll. And I like his line here. He says, Dr. Jekyll, at your service. And I'm like, let's fucking go, dude. We're ready. And it's just, again, so fucking cool thinking about how Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, was the original Hulk. So creative in 1886 to have an idea like that, dude. Amazing. And then now the full team is recruited. The leak is headed to Venice. We find out what the Phantom stole from the Bank of England, and they are blueprints for the city of Venice, and he plans to attack underwater. And then we cut to Quartermaine doing some target practice on top of the ship there, and he explains to Sawyer that he lost his son serving the British Empire and never went back to serving. And he also gives some tips to Sawyer to become a better shooter. And then Sawyer's like, I don't need any tips, okay? I know how to shoot. And he says, oh, yes, very American. Very American, the way he says it. And then he tells the guy to launch the thing, Salau! And then the guy launches the thing out, and then... and he talks about, do you want to learn how to shoot? I'm talking about hitting the ace at 900 yards. Then he says, as he's aiming down the sights, he's trying to teach Sawyer how to shoot. And he said, oh, you have all the time you need. All the time in the world. Then Sawyer sets off a shot that misses the target. He said, too soon. But that was bloody close. At 500 yards, too. Which, this is all... Quartermaine trying to make up for the loss of his dead son, obviously. And then Dorian and Mina have a little meeting, and Dorian explains the portrait of himself that keeps him immortal. Then Dr. Jekyll didn't realize this. He's kind of just spying on them from the outside. He's got the hots for Mina. And then he walks away, but Mr. Hyde antagonizes him, saying that she would be interested if he turned back to Hyde. And I like this scene a lot here. We see Nemo sees all of this, and he tells him, get your fucking shit together, dude. I cannot have this dude roaming around this ship. And then Jekyll...
Pakistanis on you, bro.
I'll fucking... He was like holding onto his sword. He's like, I will fucking cut you down right now, bro. Don't bring that dude out here. And then Jekyll decides to give in, and he looks over his formulas, but he sees one of the vials is missing, and tells Nemo and Quartermaine, back to formula. And he tells Nemo and Quartermaine it was Skinner who stole one of his vials. In Venice now, the League sees their festival happening in the city, and they must find the underwater bombs before they destroy the whole city. And this plan here is not very clear to me, even after all this time watching it. I still don't know what they're doing, but the League plans to take out one of the buildings to stop this chain reaction of the bombs going off. They get into Nemo's very cool car. They head into the crumbling city, and then Dorian bails out, blames Skinner for telling them where they were. Then Mina turns full vampire here, a scene where if it had good CGI, it would be amazing, but it wasn't that great. And we see her turning into like a bunch of bats and stuff, which is really cool. And then Quartermaine bails out, and he says when he sees the Phantom in the city. And then Sawyer, now on his own in that car, in a very cool scene, he takes the jump off of that bridge, and as he's in the midair, he shoots off the flare, which is really cool. And then we see the fucking car just land and do a flip. And then Nemo fires off a rocket targeting the building, and then, yeah, all this in slow motion. He shoots the flare, the car flips, the whole building explodes. And then back on the Nautilus, Dorian arrives as the crew is blaming Skinner for his deception, but Dorian reveals that it was him the entire time who betrayed the League. And then Quartermaine confronts the Phantom, and it is revealed that the Phantom is actually M in disguise. Then Dorian takes an escape pod off the Nautilus, and the League gives chase. And then, oh man, this scene right here. Nemo finds a record left behind by Dorian and decides to play it. In the recording, we hear M and Dorian have been planning this betrayal all along, and he plans to get the League all together, take them out in one place, while Dorian is actually there collecting all their powers to use in war. Like, he takes Skinner's blood sample, or like samples of his skin, his invisible skin. Takes Mina's blood, takes pictures of Nemo's science and stuff, and then Dr. Jekyll's formula. Then M ends the recording by saying, "The record being played is currently creating creating a sound inaudible to the human ear, but activates crystal senses attached to bombs."
That's so cool.
So fucking cool, dude. And then the camera zooms to like different sections of the ship showing the bombs, and I like how they cut back and forth between the video and like the audio that they're listening to. Like, you can see he's like looking directly in the camera. He's like, "Bon voyage." I love that scene there.
Like he's recording it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
You know, and this scene, even though I didn't understand it until way later, it is so creative. It is totally like a Mission Impossible kind of plot device, you know, using a sound you can't hear but activates a bomb. Is such an amazing idea, and the record playing along with it makes it so much cooler. It's just an amazing scene, and the reveal of the bomb at the end, and Nemo just like fucking realizing what's happening, and he just tosses the record player aside, but it's too late. They got, and they all realize it. And we see the bombs blow, and the ship start to sink. And then one of the crewmen tell Nemo the vents are jammed, causing flooding throughout the ship. Then Hyde tells Jekyll that they are their only chance for survival. So Jekyll jumps back into the water, which I like a lot. Like, he opens the door back up and he jumps in. He's like, "All right, now you can close the door." And then he takes the potion, and then and Hyde does a little deadlift underwater, like lifting up the whatever the vents, and then he drains the ship and saves the day. I just need to say this, that the character of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, just honestly was probably my biggest disappointment with this movie. The character design of Mr. Hyde was not good. His arms were so big and long. He didn't articulate
like the tank from fucking Left 4 Dead.
His arms were just like moving. They didn't have any like articulation or anything, so it looked like just big old stubs. But you know, I thought maybe it was better to have a practical one. I don't know if I would have liked a whole CGI Mr. Hyde. So maybe it was better.
I think it did well in Van Helsing, but Van Helsing did come after. That's true. So.
Yeah. And it was only in there for like a little bit too, so Van Helsing was I think it was way later than this movie too. So
yeah, it was.
And then the crewman gets a Morse code from Skinner, who I like his like opening line. He was like, "Hello, my sexy ladies," or "my sexy babies," or something. And then we figure out that Skinner,
what's happening, bitches?
He was hiding aboard Dorian's escape pod and gives them the coordinates for their destination. And then the League arrives to a frozen Mongolia, where they see the evil lair where M's weapons are being manufactured, and where they're creating an army of super beings using their own powers. They meet up back with Skinner, and this is the last act here, but I just want to preface this now by saying this whole last act was pretty bad. I was not into it, and when I usually watch this, I usually turn it off before I get to this whole last scene. I don't need to watch this ending ever again. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through it pretty quickly. Nemo does more kung fu work on these people and rescues the scientists. We see Quartermaine finds M, and we find out his name is actually James Moriarty, which, of course, the arch nemesis of Sherlock Holmes, which is so fucking cool, dude. I imagine Sherlock Holmes should have been part of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That would have been awesome. He should have been like the head guy for this, like the guy who just stays behind and kind of like figures out everything.
That would have been more reason for Moriarty to.
He could have been like the Professor X of the League, dude. He would have been awesome. And then Mina has a showdown with Dorian. And then she shows Dorian his own portrait, which kills Dorian. I like this a lot too, where Dorian turns old, and then we can see the picture turn young again, which is really cool. Then Hyde has a fight with a bigger version of himself. Honestly, probably the worst scene of this whole movie, which would have been really cool if they had today's CGI, but man, it was really bad. It was basically a bigger version of Hyde, but he was all red and he looked terrible. And then Quartermaine gets stabbed in the back by Moriarty and dies as Sawyer takes a long sniper shot at Moriarty, killing him. And then we cut to the League burying Quartermaine in Africa, and they set off with Nemo for more missions. And then the movie ends with Quartermaine being resurrected by a magic priest, which is pretty cool, kind of referring back to a earlier line in the movie where he says, "Africa will never let you die." That little line, but that is the end of it. I went through it fairly quickly because the end was just a lot of garbage, so I was like, I'm just gonna pass through there. I'm just gonna say what the cool things were from that last fight, and that was it. So
that's it.
I don't ever need to watch that last scene ever again. But the other parts of the movie, fantastic. Trivia facts,
I will
Myles.
agree.
What do you got for me?
Trivia facts. Here we go. All right. So I had that.
I probably said a lot of the trivia facts. I apologize.
Yeah, you did.
But,
Some of the like that quote though. Be the where he's like shoot. Yeah, he's like, I know how to shoot.
Aye, very American.
Like, very American. Just keep shooting until you hit the target, or like
till you hit the
spray
target.
yeah, until you hit the target.
Shoot till
at
you
one
hit the
point,
target.
it says at one point Peter Wilson does a humorous impersonation of Sir Sean Connery's voice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Like we're doing.
By the way,
Wilson.
Peter Wilson.
Go ahead.
By the way, Peter Wilson posed in Playboy after this movie, and I cannot tell you how excited I got after, because I was such a huge fan of the movie. I was like, what? She's in Playboy? What? I still remember that to this day. I remember seeing the cover of that. I was like, wait, that's the girl from the movie. I was like, oh my god. Movie. Yeah, I mean, that was pre-internet for me.
You were
so.
excited to say
Yeah,
the least.
I know. Yeah, understatement to say excited. Yeah.
According to Wilson, this was a last-minute addition to the scene, and she felt nervous doing it since Connery impersonations were considered a no-no on the set.
How
Before
dare
the
they?
I know, right? They should be a yes. Before the shoot, she called Connery and offered not to do the accent, but he insisted she should. Afterwards, she asked him what he thought. He replied, "You were great." She was taken aback and asked if he really meant it. He said, "Yeah, it's terrible. It's the
terrible.
worst impersonation I've ever heard, and it's perfect."
It's hard, man. That impersonation is so. Losers go home or winners go home and fuck the prom queen. It's fucking hard, that one, man. Losers always whine about their best. Their best.
Director Stephen Norrington had such a hard time with this movie that he announced he would never direct another movie again.
That's why he was a one-hit wonder. I was wondering. That's crazy. Damn, that sucks, man. That's unfortunate.
At the time this was written, in 2020, he hasn't. He reportedly did not like the studio supervision and is, quote-unquote, uncomfortable with large crews.
I mean, that's unfortunate. That's what a lot of DC movies are going through, right? With Warner Bros. And the creative decisions where these DC movies could be really good, but fucking Warner Brothers, of course, stepping in to fucking change things all the time, which is why that Zack Snyder cut had to come out, because Warner Brothers being a bunch of assholes over there. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks when production companies have to step in like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, terrible. They don't let that creative fucking freedom that you hired them for come out. Captain Nemo denounces the kidnapping of the scientists' wives and children as monstrous. In Jules Verne's original story, Nemo's own wife and child were kidnapped and murdered. Grief-stricken, Nemo built his submarine and retreated into the sea.
Wow. You know what? I kind of want to read that book now. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But that is
Too many.
old book. That fucking 1800s. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to read that. I'm not going to understand it. I'm too stupid to understand that kind of stuff. Yeah.
This whole section here goes over like the different characters, but you kind of went over the characters.
Yeah, I went over that.
So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. Except for the Invisible Man, all the characters have fallen into the public domain, which means that anybody can write about them. The
That's
same rule
awesome.
applies to some Golden Age comic book characters.
Wow, Golden Age comic book characters. I wonder who, but
That's something we gotta look up.
that's why there's so many goddamn Invisible Man movies because of that. That's okay. They need to come out with a Dr. Jekyll Mr. Hyde then. That's in. I guess that's kind of Incredible Hulk, so that's probably why they don't do it.
Yeah,
but,
they'll be like, hey, come on.
but still, I like
But
to
like
see
in
like a horror
1800s?
version. Yeah, I like to see it. Oh,
my God.
Jesus Christ!
Fucking light just dropped.
I would like to see like a horror version of Dr. Jekyll Mr. Hyde, but we may or may not be seeing a modern version of Dr. Jekyll Mr. Hyde next week with the new Mummy movie. So that's all I'll say about that. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I know
Yeah.
that's all I want to hear
That's
about
all-
that.
That's all I'll say.
Okay, when Alan Quartermaine is teaching Tom Sawyer to fire long-distance shots, Sawyer's arm and shoulder shake from the strain of holding the gun. In the cast commentary, Shane West said he was quite embarrassed because Sir Sean Connery, who was 71, seemed to have no problem holding the solid wood and metal gun while firing a shot. West, in his early 20s, found it incredibly heavy.
Dude, I
and
noticed
strained
that.
to hold it while aiming at the target.
I noticed that because every time Sean Connery held it like right up to his face, and then this dude, the young guy, he held it like right here, like so he was aiming like this. I'm like, come on, man, that's not how you aim. Come on, bro.
Pussy.
Very American.
Very American. While filming in Prague, the cast went to an Indian restaurant for lunch. They all had diarrhea. The Indian proprietor recognized he recognized
Captain
fucking
Nemo.
20,000 Leagues,
Yeah.
called him by name, escorted the party to his best table, and waited on them personally.
Nice.
Yeah,
Extra spicy, please.
nice. I like it.
Extra
Butthole
naan,
bun.
huh? How about extra garlic
Extra
naan?
naan.
Give me that
yeah.
extra garlic naan. Give me pack some to go, please. You know what I mean?
Door, baby. Sir Sean Connery was offered roles in The Matrix and The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, but said he didn't understand the scripts. When he was offered this movie, another screenplay he didn't quite get, he took it, even though he didn't
I was about to say,
understand this
yeah.
one.
How the fuck would he understand this? There's no goddamn way.
He's kind of he's pretty simple.
That sucks, man. Imagine Lord of the Rings being his last. No, you know what? Ian McKellen was perfect, so don't ever bring Sean Connery
That was
ever
the
again into this.
that was the
Yeah.
part he was gonna go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't ever.
boy.
Don't ever.
Don't ever.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's all I got for this.
Even though we did not put out the Constantine podcast, where would you rank this? You think this is better?
up here.
Yeah, I still think
Constantine is
Constantine is better, right? Okay.
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is below that.
Great
League of
movie.
Extraordinary-
Go watch
despite,
it. but,
despite it having a soft spot in my my ball sack, Constantine is
too ahead of its time,
the
man.
better movie.
Unfortunate. And also, I think I read this somewhere, but they Sean Connery took a majority of the money that was for this movie, so that kind of prevented more better actors to be casted in this. So I feel like if they had better actors, if it was maybe more funded, if it was made later, it probably would have been way better. But
I think that's what it
Yeah.
was. Made later.
Yeah.
No, the other characters, like Marvel, didn't have origin stories.
Yeah.
There was no like, oh man, I'm looking forward to seeing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
just
looking-
I mean, if they were trying to do that with the universe today, which
Yeah.
God, man, imagine seeing that today. That would have been amazing. A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But Myles, you have any final thoughts of this movie?
It still holds it. Like I said,
Yeah.
it still holds a soft spot. I rank it where I rank it. It's second right now, but that might change. It's open. I feel as if I'm fairly certain that Constantine will stay where it's
I was about
at.
to say that. I think Constantine is going to probably hold that top spot. Just to reiterate our future schedule here. Next week we got the 2017 remake of The Mummy. Then after that we got The Wolfman, and then rounding it out with American Psycho. I feel like maybe American Psycho might top that. I think American Psycho is probably going to be on the top.
I honestly forgot that American Psycho was part of Monster Month.
That is definitely. I am calling it now. It's going to be number one. I can already see it. Yeah.
God.
But I'm excited for you to watch these next two movies because you've never seen them before. So, as I said, this new Mummy reboot, as much as I pained me to watch it because I'm such a huge fan of the original Mummy movies, I actually very much enjoyed this movie. It was a pleasant surprise. The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, I still vouch for. I think it's a fantastic movie. Never got it to do, unfortunately. I think it kind of went off the rails at the end, but it's a Benicio del Toro, fucking fantastic actor. Him, Emily Blunt, a little reunion of from Sicario, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Sicario.
Yeah, Sicario. So I guess next week we will see you. But Myles, give them the plugs for this podcast, and we're out here.
SortaInteresting.com. That's where this podcast is at. That's our home. That's our hub. All of our podcasts from the past, you can find there. You can find our Patreon link, patreon.com/sortainteresting. Go there, check it out, see what we got to say. We got some extra shit on the way. If you donate, Google us, Sorta Interesting, YouTube, Sorta Interesting, and we're the first ones that pop up. Check us out. Subscribe to us if you like us. Even if you don't,
Watch us fail.
Out. It's like helping out a homeless guy,
Yeah.
You're like, damn.
Toss a coin to your witch.
It's not doing anything, but here.
Spare some change, sir.
Spare change.
Spare change.
With the little fucking cup. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you like Christian's Sean Connery expression,
God, I need
subscribe.
to work on it, man.
If not, subscribe even harder.
Losers always whine about their best. Fuck, man. Get it together. Their best. But yeah, next week
we will winding up, like Donkey Kong winding up his punch to say that bash.
You're the best. Yeah, next week we will see you for the Mummy 2017 remake. Do not watch the Brendan Fraser one. Go ahead and watch it if you want, but also watch the Mummy 2017 remake, a very good movie. And that is it. Have an interesting day, everybody.